Okay. So I am a mum of 2 children. I work for the Wildlife Trust as an engagement officer. So I work with children outside and promote sort of being engaged with our natural world from a very, very early age. I'm a wife. I've got a house and a big garden. I just love being outdoors. There's just a huge part of me that just needs to be outside and within nature and a little bit wild. And so I haven't always sort of worked in the outdoors, but I've sort of carved a path that allows me to do the things that fuel my soul. Oh, I think about most how to stop thinking at the moment. So I'm an overthinker and a procrastinator and a worrier, but I'm becoming more and more aware that these are sort of blockers in my life, and so I'm trying very, very hard to let lots of those thoughts just pass and be a little bit more present in the moment. Yeah, so and I do think about the future of my children and their mental health and the environment that they're growing up in. There's a lot of worry, but I'm trying to be a bit more present and sort of think about the positives, which I've never done before. And not that I'm a really negative thinker, but I can get caught up in the overthinking, which isn't particularly positive in itself. But I'm trying to develop some positive pathways. And so, yeah, the positive thinking has been really quite huge for me recently, and something that I kind of poo-pooed some time ago. Somebody had said to me, oh, affirmations, this, you need to do this, you need to try this, or it'd be useful if you did that. But oh, that's not going to work for me. But actually I found huge benefit from that. So yeah, I think about thinking a lot. Well, how a person approaches life, really. And I've constantly got a growth mindset going on, so I'm always trying to think of the new possibilities and the new experiences and what that will bring and all the learnings that that brings. Yeah, I try and encourage that in my children too. And I could get a bit frustrated with people in the household that tend to have a very fixed mindset, but then we all can, depending on what we're talking about, I guess. But yeah, a mindset to me is a way that somebody sort of approaches life in itself, and the thought processes that have led them there, and the conditioning that they've experienced, and the patterns that they are, you know, inclined to repeat. Yeah, well, I'd like to think that I've got a growth mindset. I'm sure that, you know, I fluctuate in between, like everybody does. I'm human. But I'm much more aware these days of when I am repeating patterns that perhaps aren't healthy or productive. And so I try and err on the growth mindset as often as I can. And that can be difficult sometimes when you feel the safety of the repeated patterns and the coping mechanisms that you've used, you know, throughout most of your life. So, but yeah, I'd like to think that I have a growth mindset. I'm always open to new opportunities. I'm always open to learning something new and reflecting on, you know, my my input to the world. You know, I don't know everything, and I want again to be a good role model to my children, that I can learn too, and I can admit my mistakes, and I can lean into that discomfort of getting things wrong and learning from it. Yeah, hugely. And not, you know, never more so than during this period of lockdown. I have been learning a lot about myself, and there's a lot of things that I've had so many epiphanies during this lockdown because I've had time to reflect. But things like there's things that I've learned about myself and the way that I cope with things, or I had coped with things. I had sort of just accepted that this was my lot. I've had quite a colourful past, and felt that it was hugely shaped by my childhood that was very much out of my control, and so that was that. So I suppose a very fixed mindset in terms of me as a whole person. And then having, you know, time to reflect, I totally realised that the way that I had been, and that thinking that this is my lot, and, you know, it wasn't as bad as lots of people, so just get on with it. That isn't how, you know, I'm allowed to feel that it wasn't amazing, and I'm allowed to process all of this, and I'm allowed to feel it, and I'm allowed to speak it, and it's okay. It wasn't great, and I've never, and then you can process it and move on. And I'd never sort of thought of it like that. I just thought, this is me, this is who I am because of that, shaped me that way. And I really hadn't thought that I could perhaps change how I felt about that and change that thinking. And so, yeah, my thoughts have changed hugely, but none more so than this period of lockdown. Like, I'm just totally astounded at some of the things that I felt like I should have been taught at school. You know, these things, these ways of thinking, and the conditioning that you're put through, and how to deal with all of that. You know, not having to carry the burden of other people and their thoughts and conditioning and all of that kind of stuff is very new to me. So yeah, my thinking has completely changed, and is changing all the time, and I'm very, very grateful for that, because I think I felt in me as a person was just completely stuck. Yeah, I don't know that I've described that very well, but my thinking has changed a lot for the good. I feel much freer and able to move forward and cast aside some of that I had carried with me since a small child, which is a good thing. Well, they're all shaped by their life's experiences, and I don't know what it's like to be them. So, like I said, I can get a little frustrated with those in my own household, but that's human nature, isn't it? We can all learn from each other, but there's frustration sometimes, because you kind of would hope that people want the best for other people and the environment that we live in, but I can't control that. And so their mindset is their mindset to have, and all I can control is mine. The word value means something that you hold close and dear, and that has some meaning to you. So to me, if I put it in some sort of context, I value, you know, experiences and growth and knowledge and love and feeling loved, you know, over the material things. I value the people that enable and facilitate my learning and, you know, the guidance that they bring and the knowledge that they bring to my life. To be a good person, to see the good in others, to do the best that I can, and to love, to care, to help other people. I think we've an opportunity to achieve so much more as a collective community, and by doing things for other people, I think what you gain out of doing things for other people is huge. You know, I try and instill that in my children, that it's not about, for me, it isn't about just achieving things and medals and awards. It's about the difference that you can make to just one person's life. So if that's, you know, through volunteering or helping, you know, just helping in any small way, particularly during, you know, this pandemic, there's been lots of opportunities to reach out to other people. So yeah, that's where my values lie, in, you know, being loving and kind and caring and compassionate and open-minded. You know, I value the non-material things. I've never been a materialistic individual. I really value the experiences, the friendships, you know, the love, kindness, knowledge and education, all of those things that you sort of experience rather than gain through materialistic purchases or acquisitions or whatever. I'm just not into that sort of thing at all. Thinking a lot, but making and creating and doing the stuff that fuels my soul. So I have to be outside in nature. So my work takes me there. As a forest school practitioner, I like to get out with my family on walks and paddleboard, swim in nature, out, you know, outdoors. And then when we're not doing that sort of stuff, I'm at home and I'm creating and reading. So just constantly sort of learning and reflecting, playing with my kids, being silly, just having fun. Much of the wrong things. It's all about the material things. You know, the big houses and the big cars and I think they value a system that's just totally broken and they don't even know it. And I think that we're just processing our children through a system that's very broken and that doesn't work. but that they will fit nicely into processing them so that they all come out the same and they can do all of, you know, the corporate jobs that are intended for them at the end, and is detrimental to them and society as a whole. So I think it's very, very broken. I don't think people know who they are or what they want. I think they're just told what they are, what is expected of them and what they're to do, and nobody questions it. And I think that's a sad place to be. Enough. 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 What is enough? I don't know what enough is. Is there enough of anything? I think that's what people feel. There isn't enough. People want more of everything. Enough. What is enough? The way we've sodomized the planet is enough. That's enough. I think that this pandemic has shown that society is completely broken. That's enough. And there needs to be some huge systemic changes that our government and their direction is enough. That's what I think enough is. Well-being and health to me is looking after me. If I'm not well, I can't be the best mother and wife and friend. So well-being to me is looking after my mental health, and it's doing the work, and that's looking at my past and, you know, all the childhood traumas and everything that has conditioned and led me down this path, and working out better coping mechanisms and more positive means of communicating my truth. And taking the time out that allows for that growth and introspection and reflection, and then doing the things that I know fuel my soul. And like I've said, being outdoors within nature is really grounding for me and really helps put things into perspective and allows some clear thinking. Yeah, so I do lots of things to keep myself healthy and well, and I meditate, I do breathing exercises, I do cold water therapy, I read up on things that interest me and allow me to understand myself better. I allow myself the time to do these things, and I allow myself time to play and have fun, and I let go of all the shoulds, woulds and coulds to allow my true and authentic me to be. We've all got strengths within us. It's sometimes about just tapping into it, isn't it? And we're all faced with adversities and challenges and things that we would like to tackle and change. And you've got to look, I think, inwards for that strength. That's where it's found. I think inside we've all got that. And so too with the resilience, I think that comes from having to deal and face up to all of life's curveballs. You find the strength and become to overcome them, and that builds your resilience, so that the next time you're faced with these sorts of challenges, you've got some tools to refer to help you through. So I don't think life is about being constantly happy. It's about navigating it and collecting some tools that help you deal with that, and finding your strength and developing your resilience. And I think that's all a very healthy, you know, a normal part of life. I draw my strength from inside. And my mentors, and yes, so from within, I'm finding my strength from within. I think I've been looking elsewhere for that and other things for a long time, and realised that I've got it. I've got it within. I haven't got here to the age that I'm at now, with 2 children and a husband, without having, you know, huge amounts of strength to get me through all of life's hardships. So I find my strength from within. This lockdown has been challenging. I've lost people. I've seen people very unwell. It's been a challenge for me mentally and emotionally. And for a period, it was unbearable early on. And I had to dig very deep. But on a really positive, I had the time because I was furloughed from work. So I had that time to allow myself to wallow, but to find those pathways of, you know, light. So reading up on things, and watching videos on things, and listening, and just taking the time to listen to myself, and to do some meditation, to do all of those mindfulness practices that have helped me get where I am now. So I think I've needed that resilience more so than ever during this period of lockdown. Yet now I'm coming out of, well, hopefully we're coming out of this lockdown, and I feel stronger than ever. And I'm really, really grateful for that time that I've had, that has allowed me to explore, you know, this darkness, and how resilient I am, and how strong I am. I think without having been forced into this lockdown, life continues. You find yourself rather busy, and although I've always been on this path of sort of enlightenment, if you like, I've not always committed to it, and allowed myself the time to practice as I have been able to during this lockdown. So I had to dig deep, and I know I'm resilient. I do. I think they're, you know, totally interwoven. I think so little, or so few people are aware of how your mental health can manifest physically, and your body will make you unwell. I said earlier on about how, if you'd have said to me, you know, do positive affirmations every day and you'll notice a change in your, you know, mental well-being. If you said that to me some time ago, I'd have just been like, oh yeah, whatever. No, that doesn't really work for me. But given that I've had the time, and I guess I was in a place where I would try anything, that my mindset and this positive, being grateful and looking for the positives has completely transformed my thinking. And yeah, I would never have said that I was a negative person before, but I think your mind takes you to a safe place, a known place, you know, when you're challenged or triggered, or and that known place is a place of trying to protect you and keep you safe. It's not a place of growth and repair. It's just a repeated and often negative pattern. And so, yeah, I think they're all totally interrelated. And I really believe that we should be taught this at school. You know, we're so disconnected from our bodies, and we're so stuck in our mind and our thought processes, and so few people are aware of how that isn't the real you. And there are ways to help you find the real you. And I think it's a crying shame that I've gotten to this age and I'm only just learning these things, and it's just basic being a human. And I think our children are being failed. You know, it's about what we can get them to learn and memorize, and not about how to navigate this life and their own well-being, and how to navigate their emotions. And, you know, negative emotions, positive emotions, they're all part of being a human. We shouldn't be shamed for feeling any of them. And I think there's this perception through social media and just society as a whole that we've got to strive for this perfect happy life, and the things will bring you that, the big house and the good job, and we all know that really that's not the truth. So yeah, totally all interconnected, and stuff we should be taught from really early on. I mean, yes and no. I guess I see glimmers of it. I don't feel people know themselves. I don't know. It's a funny thing, isn't it? I think if people really stopped and were able to look inside and take that time, I think they'd find a deeper meaning to lots of things. Yet people are so consumed by all of the materialistic things that I think it lacks. I think people do things for the wrong reasons and all sorts of stuff. There's loads of good, and I know that there's much more awareness of it, you know, of mindfulness and well-being, and the dialogue is a bit freer these days. People still speak a little more about these things, but I still think there's a thinking that well-being is, you know, face masks and hot chocolate. I think that society as a whole is a bit broken, and it's the minority that are looking at this and these ways of thinking. So I see it, and I think there's very well-meaning people out there. And back to, you know, what about other people's mindsets? It's not for me to impose my thinking on anybody. I can only be me and be an example to others, but other people have to find their own way. So if I can be me, my true authentic me, and inspire, you know, just a few people within my community, then that's a good thing. I do see it, but not like I'd like to see it. I think society's too brainwashed. Well, thank you for doing this, and I hope that you know, people gain something from listening to this.